Hi, I'm Fomol Grosstraktor, and this is a short guide on using a worm to solo tier 1 frigate filaments. This is a passive regen tanked worm fit with 1 DDA, and it should be about below 150 million in total, maybe like 120, 130. The fit itself is really easy to fly. You basically just face tank everything. There's really no E-war you need to worry about in tier 1s. And in almost all rooms you can just burn straight for the loot and then the gate while killing the rats. The one exception is the drone battlecruiser room, which is the hardest one, since the battlecruisers really like eating your drones. What I've personally found best in those rooms is orbiting the battlecruiser at 12k with my MWD on, so 12 kilometers. And as soon as the battlecruiser stops redboxing you and starts fighting the drones, you recall them as fast as you can, and then you put your other pair of drones out. From this fit, I'd say the only thing you can really meta down are the launchers. Wouldn't really touch the tank. You can, but I wouldn't. The best filaments to run are Com Exotics due to the hull bonus for the kinetic missile damage, and the fact that Hornets are the type of drone with the biggest shield buffer, followed by Warriors, which means the Hornets tank really well and they can regen almost all of their major shield buffer between rooms, and they won't really dip into armor that often. Electrical filaments are good too, and are gammas, and I would just avoid darks and firestorms. I don't think it really has enough DPS to efficiently farm firestorms. You should be able to get through them, but the efficiency just dies. For kinetics, personally I use augmented Hornets mainly, just because I got them for cheap, and the kinetic thermal mixed damage profile of them is quite fine for tier 1s in my opinion, and they have high DPS. Otherwise I would probably run one pair of tier 2 Hornets and one pair of Navy Hornets, or if you can't use tier 2 tech 2 drones, I would run 2 pairs of faction Hornets and one backup one. Just make sure you have at least 200 DPS on your fit. For gammas I'd use Warriors, and for electricals I guess I would use Hornets as well for their big shield buffer. And so maybe like 3 Navy Hornets and 2 Tech 2 Acolytes for battleship rooms. So the key difference between the frigate and cruiser rooms is that you need 3 filaments to run a frigate filament Abyssal run, and for cruisers you need only 1. So if you're planning to run frigate ones for hours on end, make sure you have a good stockpile. I did about 2 hours of them, and I went through 60 just recently. You also need to be in a fleet, so just a one-man fleet is fine. You can do them from standing fleet or something as well to get more intel, but just one-man fleet is fine. We'll do I guess 2 rooms in 2 runs. We'll see what kind of fights we get. Hopefully we'll see the battlecruiser room. If not, oh well. After you land you want to wiggle your ship a bit to get rid of the warp invulnerability, then activate the filament. Then you want to approach it and activate, or just rapidly activate. Worms generally have pretty low lock range. I have 37, and the drone range is actually 54. So you can have your drone start shooting things before you can actually lock them. if the rats have aggroed you. And the cache might be pretty close to you, but you don't want to shoot it before your rats have aggroed on the rats. Usually you need 1 or 2 cycle of prop mod to get to the cache. And if you're prop modding, you want to stop your ship when you're at like 10 or 12 kilometers from it, and that should decelerate you fast enough to loot. And then you just orbit to kind of it. From cruisers you want to shoot lancers first because they like shooting drones. But generally the rooms are pretty fast. The loot logic I found is that from the loot boxes you basically get triple the loot that you regularly get, but from the subnodes they don't scale, so you get the same loot that you would get from a single T1, so they're pretty much a waste of time if you're doing solo frigate ones. And also what I've found that if you compare this to like T3 cruiser ones, recall drones, if you compare it to cruiser ones, then if you go up the tiers, then the amount of survey databases and like condensates you get kind of scale up, and you get better filaments as loot from the higher ones as well. But the skill book and the BPC drops don't really scale as fast. So in my opinion you get, well, in my experience, not just opinion, you get more BPC and skill books over time from just spamming frigate ones. Also because you can get through them really fast than you get from cruiser ones, but from cruiser ones you get the way better mutaplasmids and more of them, and way more expensive filaments. And you don't really need quite as many of them, of the filaments, to like farm them for like a couple hours. This is an easy room as well, 3 lancers. They're already shooting the drones, but drones are tanky. I like using Fury because it's the highest DPS for the battleships, but it doesn't really have a lot of range. Sometimes like some cruisers are gonna run off the range, but Fury is really cheap and that's nice. I usually run frigate ones when I just want to chill. They're about the same income, I'd say, as T3 cruiser ones, but there's like a lot less doing things. And recall drones. We've been here for 4 minutes and we're already done through 2 rooms. 2 Aegises, 1 Lancer, and like whatever. There's a tomato here though, so it's gonna hurt a bit. But it's fine, the drones are tanky. Stop the ship. I think these are 40k. Yep. I guess my drones are almost out of range. but like they're still tanking fine. This is a pretty average completion time for this. In my experience, about 6 minutes. And let's do at least one more.
Warp drive active.
This guy takes a bit of time, but isn't really dangerous. I did about 2 hours of them just earlier, so it's a small data set to figure out how much you'd about earn from them. But I've done them before as well, so it's about the same estimate, I'd say. So I got about 200 million loot and about 40 million BPC, and I went through 20 runs of exotics. I only did exotics. So that was 60 calm exotic filaments, which is about 20 mil. So about like 240 minus 220, which leaves me at like 110 mil per hour, which is pretty good for just kind of AFKing through this. The ship itself is like below 150 mil with cheaper drones as well. So you can pay for the fit in a bit over an hour. I'd say I personally still prefer doing cruiser ones, T3s, if I want something easy. Because the problem with the frigate ones is if you do a lot of them, they're like easy, but they're like kind of fast, and my mind goes a bit loopy after them. So after a while I don't really know if I'm in the first room or the second room, or if how many runs I still want to do after I dock up. But it's just good for chill farming a bit of PPCs and stuff. And you're not really risking much either. It's a fairly cheap ship. I think this was the first room, and this is already over 3 minutes. So this is why I'd say don't do firestorms, because this guy's gonna have a lot more armor in those. And we call it drones. 3 loads. Oh, they're here. This is yet another easy room. These guys aggro from quite far away, so... I didn't actually red box, so yeah, your drones won't go after them yet. $12k off, so decycle and stop ship manually. And then let's loot. If you just issue the loot command, you won't really decelerate as much. And you'll waste more time looting. Like, there's plenty of time in this room, because it's one of the... It's not a very fast room, but for example in the Leshak room, the room takes like about 50 seconds to do, so you want to loot faster as well. So yeah, as you can see, this is quite like low effort. You can watch some videos or shit. Just as long as you, as when you see a battle cruiser room, you wake up. Recall. Okay, yeah, let's make this the last room. 'Cause I'm getting sleepy. No, I overshot. This room is gonna take some time, so let's just go look at the subnode. Room goes really fast, so you can pick them up, but there's like very little of them, very little in them, in even Frigate T1s. $1 mil. Yeah. Sometimes the drones switch aggro on them, because they use some Triglavi and black magic. So make sure you switch back. Because this is like an 8-minute run. So we had a 6-minute one and an 8-minute one, so like 15 minutes. And yeah, this looks like about, I think this is worth more right now. Mason is 7 mil ish. So I guess it's like 30 mil or something, roughly. And the box was just only 1 mil. Okay, and that's gonna be it for the runs. So to recap, just be careful about the battlecruiser rooms. If you find them, just orbit them at 12k or 11k, prop mod on, put your drones on them after they've red boxed you. If they haven't red boxed you yet, then don't put your drones on them yet. And the moment they go yellow box, you pull them really fast. With Hornets, they shouldn't really go through more than like half the shield or 2/3 of the shield. So that's gonna be it. Thank you.